Freddy Mak figure it all out? Freddy Mak, an independent voter, raised Muslim, landscaper, real estate agent, rideshare driver, divorced father of 3, and still looking for love, is just trying to make sense of it all. Can he do it? Well, he thinks he can, and he's looking for your help. From dating to politics, Freddy talks about everything. Get ready for a different take on today's hottest topics, because with Freddy Mak, not everything is black and white. Buckle up! Welcome to the Freddy Mak Show, where common sense and logic rule.
All right. Hello and welcome to the Freddy Mak Show, where common sense and logic rule. I am your host, Freddy Mak, attack. Whew. Got to be in good shape to do that. So before we get started on this next podcast, please make sure you follow Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and just would love to have you follow. Give me your input of what topics you would like to talk to. For those of you that are new here to the podcast, this is unscripted. I may have some notes here and there, but for the most part, it's unscripted. And it's what's on my mind. And what am I doing? Well, I'm using common sense and I'm using logic to make this work. So anyway, today what we're going to be talking about, and by the way, in the future, for the people who have just are watching this particular podcast and not the intro, I really like talking about relationships and how they work, why they work. Couples, even if you're not married, how to make a relationship work without marriage. If you're in a marriage, I've been in a marriage for 21 years. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I just have experience like everybody else does, and we share our experiences. And there actually is a right and wrong way to enter in a relationship so it works. If it fails, there's a reason why it failed, and you're going to be surprised why relationships fail. And it's so simple to fix it. So simple to fix it. But it doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. Does that make sense? Anyway, we'll get into that later. Today, we're going to be talking about mental health, okay? And why it's important to take care of this thing right here in your lifetime. I think more than ever, life seems to be more complicated than it ever has been. Right? There's just, with social media, with the internet, it just seems like there's more out there to fill the people's brains up with shit, if you will. And you never think you're good enough. You don't think you always think you're lesser than because people are showing off. Like keeping up with the Joneses, right? It's just like keeping up with the Joneses in some ways, but you really shouldn't do that to yourself. You really shouldn't. So, a little drink coffee here. So, why am I excited about talking about mental health? Well, I did not realize that I was suffering from mental health until I was probably in my 30s. I would say mid to late 30s is when I realized that something is not right. I'm too depressed, obsessing over things. Not, people think obsessive compulsive is, washing your hands all the time. The main component to obsessive compulsive is this thing right here, how you're obsessing over things. Your mind, you're obsessing over the thoughts, the past, the what ifs, and where am I going, and what does that person think of me, and oh my God, don't say that. What are they going to think of me? They're going to think I'm a horrible person. They're going to think I went through all of that. All of it. I probably drove my ex-wife crazy with this because I was always, oh my God, did I say the wrong thing? Did I seem stupid? What did I say? And then my thoughts would just go down this rabbit hole. And it was disruptive to my life. It really was. Not just to me, but people around me. So, but yeah, I can remember being, super young, like adolescent young, and suffering from night terrors, bad dreams, bedwetting, just completely and utterly stressed out, sleepwalking. and not knowing where I was at or what I was doing. And my poor mom used to get up in the middle of the night, and she couldn't say anything to me because I would freak out, right? I would just want to leave the house and run away. Suffered from panic attacks as long as I can remember. And these panic attacks, what I thought they were heart attacks. So I literally sent myself to the hospital probably a half a dozen times in my lifetime. I've called the ambulance. I've gone to urgent care. I've gone to the ER saying, I think I'm having a heart attack. I think I'm having a heart attack. And it wasn't until her name is, we'll say Anna Marie. I won't give her last name out. Something traumatic happened in my life while I was married. My wife and I and my kids, we had to make a big move. I lived in New Jersey, and we were planning on coming back here, and somehow it just stressed me out, and I hit rock bottom. I literally hit rock bottom. I was agoraphobic. I didn't want to leave the house. I was afraid that I was at any given time going to die of a heart attack because I kept having panic attacks. So I was really, we're talking rock bottom. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I just wanted to live in my own little bubble. I even pushed away. Well, pushed away is a hard term, but I wasn't available, let's say, for my children or even my wife at the time, who actually supported me. As a matter of fact, I grew up in a household, in an environment where going to therapy was voodoo. It was a no-no. It's voodoo. It's witchcraft. It's blah, blah. It's all kinds of, right? So that's, you're a product of your environment, right? You're a product of your environment. You believe what you've been told. And sometimes it's hard to unwind that, right? It's hard to get someone to say, no, that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is. It doesn't have to be that way. You could set yourself free. It's okay to go seek help from other people. Friends and family are great, but they can't be your therapist. They can't be somebody who's going to get you over that hump. They can be your rock. They can be your, maybe even perhaps a life coach. They can be your shoulder to lean on. But my ex-wife, I told her, I said, all right, let's do it. I couldn't make the phone call though. I was so embarrassed. I didn't know what to say. I couldn't make the phone call. So I went to her, and I finally went there, and I saw her for almost a year, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life as far as my mental health. When I look back at it, I've always been a person to exercise, take care of myself, eat as healthy as I can. Fell into a slump where I just dropped the ball, weighed 230 pounds, and then mentally I had to get myself back into the game again. Did Ironmans, full marathons, all kinds of triathlons, you name it, bike races, all kinds of stuff. So I had to get my frame of thinking back to where I'm at right now. And guess what I just did? I lost my train of thought. There was a point to that, but that's what Freddy Mak does. Now, I couldn't get myself to make that phone call. I just couldn't do it. So she made the phone call for me, and I saw her. Like I said, I saw her for about a year, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And when I saw her, she was doing all kinds of stuff. People have this idea of a therapist, like they're gonna walk in there and say, well, this is your problem, and the response is gonna be, well, I know that's my problem. It's not the way therapy works. It's just not the way therapy works. The way therapy works, you tell them what your issues are, and they're not gonna say, oh, well, you have a problem. No, they're gonna ask you questions to get down deep to figure out what's going on here, for you to open up. There was one thing that she did for me that I thought was amazing, because my obsessive compulsive thoughts were taking over with me. I'm a loser. I don't want to be here anymore. My family doesn't deserve me. Why don't I just go to jail for the rest of my life? I don't know why I thought that. I have no idea. I just want to be in seclusion. I'm a nobody. So what she did was she did what was called exposure therapy. I would write all these negative things that I thought about me, and she made me read it and repeat it over and over again, like in school, write this 100 times. It seems childish, but it worked. I'm sitting there reading this going, wait a minute here. Why am I talking this way about myself? Why am I having these ugly thoughts? Why am I thinking this way? And it actually worked. Now, to someone on the outside who doesn't believe in therapy might say that's the stupidest thing they ever heard. Okay, great. It's stupid. Stay where you're at then. Stay exactly where you're at. Your life won't get better. I've seen people in my life that have hit rock bottom. And I've actually recommended my current therapist, and they absolutely love him. They said he was great. He helped out. He put things in perspective. So if you're not getting what you want to get out of your therapist, the only thing I can recommend is go somewhere else. Go to another therapist. Okay, just go to another therapist. So anyway, I was freaking out about the move. Okay, and but Anna Marie, of course, she'll probably never see this podcast. So maybe I might just send it to her. Thank you. You changed my life. You absolutely positively changed my life. Now, does that mean I still didn't need therapy? No, of course not. By the way, medication. People are opposed to medication as well. I went on medication at that time. I was so bad that she said, you need to go off on medication to take the edge off. And if you decide you want to go off it later, that's fine. But for now, just to take the edge off. And I did it. And then I got off of it. My point is, it's okay if you're on medication. If it help, even if you don't need therapy anymore, and you collected your thoughts, that therapist helped you with your thoughts and brought you down and grounded you, and you're still on medication, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong, as long as it helps you. Why do people want to suffer? I can look back at what I went through and go, why did I put myself through that? Well, part of it was the unknown. Right? Because one of the first things that my therapist said to me was, have you seen your doctor? Because I told her I was suffering from these panic attacks. And I thought a panic attack was something that just comes on automatically. Like I could be sitting with you right now, and all of a sudden I have a panic attack. Like the body is like, oh, it's time to have a panic attack. No, it's not what a panic attack is. Not even close. So a panic attack is actually biological, and it starts with your brain. You were thinking of something. Whether you think you were or not, you were thinking of something that made you start to hyperventilate, and then the cells start going crazy. There's a book out there that I read. It's called Don't Panic. It's a great book. Or another book is called The Sky is Falling, where the part of the book is about a guy going up and down a highway ramp, right? Because he thinks he hit something. I've been through that. I've actually turned around to see if I hit something. I've been through that. I don't go through that anymore. But when I sat down with her, she said, well, the first thing she said, the first visit, have you seen a doctor? I said, yes. They go, well, what did they say? They said, I'm perfectly healthy. My heart is fine. Everything is fine. My cholesterol is a little high. I'm on cholesterol medication. Okay, good. So you're healthy. Yes. It was all right here. It was all right here. Why in the world? See, now I remember my point that I wanted to make before when I was talking about training and stuff like that. You see how that works? It's like, zigzag. Or what does that orange vermin call it? He does the weave until he gets to his point. This was not a weave. This was just remembering what I forgot to say. And that is, we spend so much time working out. I mean, I'm in the gym 5 days a week. 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week. I teach a spin class twice a week, and I absolutely love it. I work out with kettlebells. I mean, I'm not in the greatest shape, but I got some guns here. I'm looking all right. So anyway, I mean, I work my ass off, right? I mean, I work hard to be in good shape. I got my cholesterol down, my blood pressure, my resting heart rate's like 52 beats. I've had it as low as 49, sitting there drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, taking my heart rate. It's at 49. I'm like, this is great. My blood pressure, they always say, my God, look at your blood pressure. 61 years old, right? I mean, but I take care of myself. But we spend all this time on our body, but we never take care of this. Why? Why? Is it pride? Is it feeling shameful? I can answer that yes. Because I've been there. I've been there. I go to a therapist to this day. Not on a regular basis. Sometimes when I need to sit down and collect my thoughts and something happened, I want somebody who's going to give me a honest, truthful opinion. Because sometimes friends will, say things just to be nice. They're not really being upfront and honest. My therapist is upfront and honest with me, brutally honest with me. And I love it. I love it. I need someone to tell me that, right? I need someone to give me a good ass kicking, verbally, metaphorically speaking, with the ass kicking. But although I've literally walked into his office and said, don't be afraid to punch me in the face or give me a good ass kick. And he laughs. He goes, oh, I would never do that. But he does it with what he says. He puts things in perspective for me. He really does. Because there's sometimes I can't organize my thoughts. And I know this for a fact because I've been around it too much. I know a lot of people out there, they think it's normal. They think it's normal to have these bouts of depression. Okay? It's not normal. Well, let me phrase it this way because I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. It is normal to get depressed. It's not normal for you to deal with it all the time. How's that? It's not normal for it to be part of your life, part of your future. And I know this because I look back and go, oh my God. I spent nearly I'm an infant, but up until I was around 35 years old, suffering from depression, anxiety, panic attacks. I suffered. How do you know, Fred? I have something to compare it to. I have never been happier and healthier in my life. I'm healthier now than I was at 30 years old. For sure. No question in my mind. No question in my mind. So it's all about making that decision. You just got to make that decision to literally flick the light switch, make it happen, go get help, do your thing. Even if you don't want to go to, say, a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and maybe you want to go to a life coach. I think that's okay too, because they're going to help you organize your life. I don't know if they're going to get down into your where you're at mentally, but a life coach can be a good option as well. I'm going to drink here. So, yeah, I went through a lot of trauma in my life, and it doesn't mean that I still don't get depressed every so often. It does happen, but it doesn't happen as often. It doesn't bother me like it used to, and I know how to deal and cope with it to work on myself without having to panic and call the therapist and say I need help, every 5 days. That's what they do. That's what they do. They train you, they teach you, they give you material, they give you tools, they give you guidance on how to collect your thoughts so it doesn't spiral into deep depression. I've seen people literally happy as can be. It's like manic, right? They're happy as can be, and then all of a sudden I can't get a hold of them. And then I get a hold of them, what's wrong? I fell into a slump. I wasn't feeling well. I just wanted time alone. See, to me, that's a rough one. Because if you're healthy and you know how to cope and you know how to deal, yeah, traumatic things could happen in your life. I get that. I'm talking on a general basis here. Yes, pick up that phone and call your friend. And I tell you what, I'm surrounded by some great friends. I am surrounded by some great friends. I know that I can pick up the phone and call them for a quick boost me up and say, I'm having a hard day with this and blah, 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 blah. And, not necessarily need to go to therapists and, yada, 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 but they go, come on, man, let's go. Come on, let's go have a cigar, and and it's good. It's good, right? You surround yourself by, especially men here. Okay, women are different, but men, surround yourself with 2, 3 at the most really good friends, and I'm telling you, you'll be in a good place. I got Chris. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Paul, and then of course I have my cousins, and my brother David and. Michael, my brother Jimmy. I know I can go to them if I need some general help, a daily boost, if you will, of a vitamin B for the brain. Even though it's not vitamin B. I don't know why I said that. But it's super, super important. I have learned, because I was a secluded person most of my life. I didn't like going into crowds. I didn't like, when I moved into, even though I was healthier than I was when we moved from New Jersey to Michigan, I still was very kind of a quiet person, shy, didn't want to engage. And then we moved into a neighborhood where everybody wanted to engage, block parties and let's rent a limo, let's go out here, blah, 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 bonfires, 4th of July parties, birthdays. And at first I hated it. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be around this place. I just want to go home, have my cup of coffee, watch TV. And I loved it. After a while, I loved it. It was good for the soul. Your friends, you talk, you learn about other people, you learn about yourself. You learn that it's okay to change if you need to change your point of view or who you are as a person. It's okay. Listen, the point is you can't do this on your own. You can't. When you go to work, can you do your job on your own? Think about this. Really, honestly, and truly think about this. Can you walk into work, sit down at that desk or do, wherever you're at, and honestly and truly do it by yourself? There's no way. Somewhere along the line, you're going to need help. Somewhere along the line, you're going to have to ask somebody for assistance. You're going to have to. And it's okay. For the people out there who don't want to go to therapy or who don't want to reach out, you're a burden, you're this, you're that, you're embarrassed, you're ashamed, stop it. I'm telling you right now, seek help, because it's going to ruin your life. And it may ruin your life to the point where you may want to take your life. Now, thankfully, I was never there, because I knew deep down inside, no matter how bad I got, no matter how depressed I got, and trust me, there were days where months, I was agoraphobic. I didn't want to do a damn thing. Okay? But I never, ever wanted to end my life, because I knew that I wanted to get healthy. I wanted to be vulnerable. I wanted to be free from my past, my stress. I wanted to be free from it. The past is a killer. It's a killer. And the past does not dictate your future. It doesn't. Get rid of it. Just get rid of it and seek help. You're not going to be able to do this on your own. If you think that it's okay and normal to get depressed on a regular basis, and then you curl up on the ball and you go, oh, the next day you're refreshed and ready to go, all you're doing is put a Band-Aid on it. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it. You're not healing it. You're not fixing it. And listen, I'm not trying to yell at you. Everyone has a different story. Everybody has different issues. I get it. I get that. But I'm trying to encourage you to get to the point to pick up that phone and seek help before it does get to a point where you're no longer on this earth and you leave family members behind and your children or maybe even your spouse. Okay? So, but I knew I wanted to live. I knew it. I had goals. I had aspirations. I had this dream of, just living a happy life and traveling and being healthy and being happy and being able to look at a stranger and just say, hi, how are you today? Right? Without, I tell you what, one of the best therapeutic experiences that I had when I was down in the dump, besides seeing my therapist, extending yourself to other people. Extend yourself to other people. I remember when I was really bad, right? I was agoraphobic. I just started getting out of the house, right? Went to Walmart. I was with my wife at the time. And some lady was asking about fish tanks. And I knew quite a bit about fish tanks. My kids had fish. I had fish. My sisters had fish. I grew up with fish tanks, right? And I was helping her out. She had questions about it. Like, she looked confused, and she asked me a question. I got nervous at first, and then I ended up talking to her and helping her. I walked away when I went, wow, that actually felt really good, engaging instead of being internal and ignoring everybody. That's not healthy. It's not. Your body knows. Your body knows. And stress, we used to think, stress doesn't cause heart attacks. Stress doesn't. We now know. Yeah, it does. Stress causes all kinds of bodily problems, mentally and physically. No question about it. No question about it. So it is super, super important. I'm going to put up on the screen here a little something. Take note of this. It's only for a few seconds. The suicide hotline is fantastic. You can actually text, right? You don't have to call. You could text. They don't even have to hear your voice, right? And you could text them now. So I'm going to put that up on the screen here, and I'll be back in a second. All right, I'm back. So please, screenshot that, take a picture of it, keep it in your phone whenever you need it, okay? So because I think it's super important. I mean, did I wake up some mornings and not want to be here? Yes, of course, because you want the pain to stop, right? It's almost like you have a cold, chop my nose off, right? It's just normal to say, do whatever it takes to stop the pain. And I have a great support system. My family, my sister Julia. Oh my God, I mean, she was a lifesaver as well. So. Just friends and family, and then of course, what did my sister say, right? Fred, get back on meds. Fred, go see a therapist, right? Because she knows that she can't help me. She can comfort me. She can be there for me. She can make a phone call and say, "Are you okay?" to check in, but she doesn't have the skills or the education to help me through what I'm going through. So. It's interesting. Oh, there's one other thing that I want to mention that was a life changer for me as well. And honestly, it was almost as good as therapy, but it's not, okay? Because it was all physical. But that physical led to saying, my God, if I can handle that physically, I can do anything in my life, right? But sometimes there are some roadblocks. Sometimes you don't know exactly how to maneuver that, and that's where a therapist comes in. So there's a guy, oh boy, here we go. I know he's going to listen to him. I'm going to call him Roger D. I'm not going to give his last name out. But anyway, when I was divorced, probably I would say in 2010, maybe 11, somewhere around there. Yeah, somewhere around there. I don't know. It's irrelevant to the story, so it doesn't matter. I kept hearing this buzz. It was called Savage, right? Like, Savage, what is this? I don't know what this is. And then one thing led to another, and I started hearing it from my cousin's friend at a party, and Savage. I'm like, what is Savage? She goes, it's insane, Fred. You are literally out in whatever the conditions are that day. It could be raining, snowing, 10 degrees below zero, lightning, thunder, it doesn't matter. It's a group of people that go out for anywhere from 3 to 5 hours, 3 to 6 hours, depending on, what Roger felt like doing that day. And he would bring all kinds of stuff with him, tires, punching bags, engines. And we would go around a park called Stony Creek Park, physically torturing ourselves, literally physically torturing ourselves. I did that for a couple years, and I can't even begin to tell you what that did to my mind. That's what got me to believe that I can do a marathon. That's what got me to believe that I could actually do a full-fledged Ironman, 140.6 miles. That got me to believe that I can do these mountain bike races. That got me to believe that I can run another marathon. That got me believing I can do whatever I physically can do. You see what I mean? Physically can do. It's still not going to help with the other things. It could be a chemical imbalance and you may need medication, right? But it gave the right mindset that, oh my God, if I can do that, I can tackle anything in my life. So thank you, Roger. It was a life altering experience for me. Savage was absolutely amazing. He doesn't do it anymore. I wish he would, because I would absolutely positively go. Now, when I was training for my marathon, I didn't go as much because it's physically demanding and you could end up getting hurt. I never got hurt. Now, I'm telling you, when I say any condition, we literally went out to Stony Creek. A thunderstorm came by. We saw lightning in our line of sight. Lightning. And we were in a lake. Are we nuts? Are we freaking crazy? Anyway, so listen, folks. We can't begin to explain how important it is to seek help, okay? And you're not in this alone. Don't be ashamed. I get it. There was a time, I think we're still in transition, right? Like the the baby boomers, therapy, get over it, pull the bootstraps up, and nowadays you get some guys, just go to the gym, you'll be fine. Now, sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes it's just not that easy. Don't be ashamed. Just don't be ashamed. And go in with an open mind. Don't go in there with one therapy session and go, oh, they can't help me. No. And there are good therapists out there who are not there just for the money. They're not. They really want you to be healthy. The first therapist I saw, she said, Fred, honestly, I think you're good. I mean, if you want to keep coming, that's fine. But I think you're good. You're healthy. You're on track. You're ready to make the move from New Jersey to Michigan, which was the main issue. It just stressed me out, and a big move with 2 kids and a family and all kinds of stuff. But how did I end up in New Jersey? A whole nother story. I spent most of my life in Michigan, but it doesn't matter. It's not really relevant to the story. The relevance is I hit rock bottom. So, but seek help. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to pick up that phone. Even if you don't want to call a therapist, call your friend up. Call whoever up and say, I need help. I need to go to therapy, but I don't know how to do it. That person will do it for you. I swear to you, if somebody called me up today, I'm not saying anyone in particular, but if somebody were to call me today and say, I'm ready for therapy, and I would make that phone call for them. And honestly, if I'm that close to them and they said, Fred, I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go by myself. Will you come with me just to be by my side? I'd go. 100%. 100%. Because it makes me sad when I see people depressed, when they keep thinking of the past, and their present and their future is dictated by what happened in the past. It's heartbreaking to me. My God, when I hit 60 years old, I'm 61 now, I thought to myself, I don't have time to be depressed. I don't have time to wallow in the past. I don't have time for this. Statistically, I got 15 years left on this earth. Of course, I got really good genes. My father's 94 years old, and he's still walking with a walker, but he's still with us. And my mother, 87 years old, she's still with us too. So, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Do whatever it takes. Start with baby steps. It's okay. If you want to talk to a friend first to lead into going to a therapist or maybe even a life coach. I think a life coach may be a little less clinical, if you will, right? They're more like, okay, where are you at now? Where are your finances? Where would you like to be? They put a program together. Okay, you want to start an exercise program. Make sure they outline it. Make sure you do it this day, and on this day. Okay, you want to read. Okay, make sure so they put a daily, weekly, yearly plan together for you. I could be wrong about that exactly. I've never been to a life coach. But I think that's generally what they do. They're not very clinical, if you will. They're more of where's your life now? Where do you want to go? So, a therapist would dig down in your brain and try to figure out why you have these ugly thoughts and why you keep thinking the way you're thinking. And they're going to dig deep into the past. It could be It could be a boyfriend that did it. It could be a girlfriend, either one, you're right. It could be a baby daddy or a baby mama. It could be the kids that said and did something that set you off. It could be work. It could be anything. And they're going to go back and say, well, okay, this is what happened. This is what happened. You think because you had that experience, now every man, every kid, every person is the same way, and you don't trust anybody. So you put up walls, and then you create this environment where that only works for you and not necessarily for your family, your friends, or your partner. Yeah. My therapist told me that I should be a therapist. That would be fun. You know what? I wonder if they have. That's interesting. Anyway, I digress. All right, folks, that's all I got for today on mental health. We'll be talking more on mental health. I'm actually going to have a specialist on who specializes in mental health, and I met her actually on TikTok. And we'd have to do Zoom because I'm not even sure where she lives. She doesn't live in Michigan, though. But I got to know her very well through TikTok and talking about the terrorist organization of Israel and what the Palestinians have been going through for the last 77 years or so. And when I told her that I was going to start my podcast up again and we're going to talk about mental health, she's like, Freddie, I'm in. Let me know when, where, and how. And that's my specialty, and I care deeply about it. And I'm very excited about that. So, all right, I'm going to end it on this note. For those of you who are suffering in life, how long do you want to torture yourself? How much longer do you want to torture yourself? Draw a line in the sand and do something. It may not be making that phone call right. It could be a baby step, like I told you. Call a friend. Whatever it might be, pick up a book. Start reading a book. Okay? I got some great books that I can recommend. Off the top of my head, 4 Agreements, of course. That's just, everybody needs to read the 4 Agreements. There isn't a soul out there that could not benefit from the 4 Agreements. Also, I'd recommend Conversations with God. It's not a religious book at all, so don't be fooled by the title, but it's an amazing, amazing book. And we talk about chapter 7, which is what the next podcast is going to be about relationships and dating and why relationships work out, why they don't, how to bring them back together. And a lot of times it's just as simple as talking and communicating and putting things right out on the table. So yeah, those are a couple of my favorite books. Right now I'm, reading No More Mr. Nice Guy, which, I just started reading it, but I get the gist of it. It talks about, boundaries, what are your boundaries and stuff like that. And then that can apply to anybody and anything. But reading is super, 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 super important. Okay, it's super important. And writing down where you want to be in 6 months or even in a month, just write it down. And then when that deadline comes, if you didn't reach those goals, revisit it and rewrite it and put it somewhere where you could see it every single day, on the refrigerator, in the bathroom, somewhere where you go every single day so you can at least see it once or twice. Okay? All right. That's all I got. Thanks, folks. Please make sure you subscribe to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for joining. If you have any suggestions or you want to comment on this, just go to my YouTube channel, or you can even send me an email at thefreddymacshow@gmail.com. And remember, that's Freddy with a Y and Mac with a K. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Peace out.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Visit our website to connect with us on social media and learn how to become a guest on The Freddy Mak Show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on The Freddy Mak Show, where common sense and logic rule.